Welcome back to Studio F on Fast on Willy B. We're reviewing The Lost World Jurassic Park. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
G-Man, run it.
Welcome back to Fast on Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got Tony back with me, and now we move to 1997, where we've got The Lost World Jurassic Park, the second movie in the iconic franchise. We've still got Steven Spielberg directing this one. Cast-wise, we lose a couple, but we retain Jeff Goldblum, and then we pull in some big names. We've got Julianne Moore in this one. We've got Vince Vaughn in a supporting role. I love Vince Vaughn and his... Obviously, we know Vince Vaughn, and we love him for his comedy, especially throughout the 2000s. But he's in a bunch of 90s movies.
He's just dynamic.
And especially in this supporting role, like, one I always think of, too, is Rudy. He's like the third-string running back for Notre Dame. And Rudy. Like, Vince Vaughn just is in this movie.
He just, like, as a dynamic just role, but he's just so versatile in what he can do.
Yeah, you know him for his comedy, obviously, you know, growing up when we did. But, like, then you start watching his 90s stuff, and you're like, wow, he did not start with comedy. Like... You know,
I wouldn't hate, like I said, I wouldn't hate to see more of his acting like this. Although I think he's funny as fuck.
Oh,
but,
dude, Vince Vaughn's one of my favorite comedic actors. But that's besides the point. So, like I said, we're here for The Lost World. We'll start with the good. And to me, I think this movie gets a little too much hate. I think it's definitely a step down from the first film. But I still think this is a very good Jurassic Park movie. Now, we move on from one T-Rex, and we have two T-Rexes. The
Mom and Dad
is the big bads of the movie, and we've also got a baby T-Rex. But this one is cool because they want Goldblum to go back. They want Ian Malcolm to go back to the island, and he's like, nope, not doing it, never gonna get me there. And then he finds out that his girl thing is over there, Dr. Sarah, and who's played by Julianne Moore, and so that gets him there. And then his daughter sneaks in, Kelly, and so he's already not with it. He's
not having a good time.
He's got his girlfriend, his daughter, and himself on an island he has no desire to be on.
Absolutely not.
And so I think that alone creates almost not comedy, but at times you're like, it's funny because of how he's reacting to this, you know, because he knows he's been there. And so, like, you know, you have his daughter and girlfriend not taking him serious, and he's, like, kind of crashing out.
You're going to fuck around and find out, like, I haven't just lived this already.
Yeah, but you understand why, and I think it's a fun family dynamic, but I think it, once again, builds the tension. Meanwhile, also going on this island, you have, like, this military unit that's trying to take control of the dinosaurs and move them to a park in San Diego.
Right, which was not communicated to anybody else.
Yeah, and also not a good idea.
As you've learned from the first movie.
Yeah, but, you know, this movie, we get some, once again, some great tense scenes. The scene, like, with the living compound area. When it
pushed off the edge.
Yeah, like, that scene's great. And in my opinion, like I said, some people kind of, I feel like this is a Jurassic Park movie that catches a little flag. But in my opinion, it has some of the most iconic scenes in the entire franchise.
It does have a lot of scenes. Like, I don't know. I guess...
And I'm thinking of three.
Let me hear them.
The raptor scene in the field, when the raptors are just picking people off one by one, and you just see them moving through the field. Dude, that scene is awesome. Awesome.
It was scary.
Probably the best scene in the movie. Well, second best scene in the movie. Third best scene in the movie, though, is when the T-Rex eats the guy through the waterfall, and the waterfall turns into blood. I've always thought that was a really cool, just like... Once again, the effects and just like a cool thing that you're like, oh, that's tough. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then my favorite scene is probably when we get T-Rex taking over San Diego. Just because it's absolute chaos. But those three scenes, in my opinion, are just like, when you're talking about the Jurassic Park franchise as a whole, those are three scenes that, if you've seen all of the movies, you remember. Without a doubt.
My favorite one was, again, just like you said, when the T-Rex got to the homeland. Because that was a very pivotal moment in the franchise, as you'll learn if you decide to watch all of them, which we both recommend you do.
Yeah.
About dinosaurs interacting with humans. Although they've been doing that the entire time on the island. But, like, that was the dinosaurs habitat that they've only known, and then they get introduced to
big city,
exactly.
San Diego.
Yeah.
What would you do if you were that kid in the bedroom that T-Rex was looking through your window?
I'm not. I'll give him. He's got some nuts.
Yeah.
Like
he goes and gets his parents.
Him being that calm, be like, yeah, okay, I'm going over here.
There's a T-Rex in my window.
Hey, yeah, we got a T-Rex in the backyard. I might have screamed. I'm not gonna lie to you, or I just would have buried my head into the pillow and just like, I'm not
prayed
moving.
For the best.
Yeah, like there's nothing stopping this individual from coming through my window and just snatching me with his jaws. Yeah. This 30-foot monster. So. Yeah, I'm not telling my mom and dad about it because what the hell are they going to do?
Eats the family dog.
Yeah, that's tough.
I know.
As a big dog fan.
Never liked seeing the dog go.
No. But it is what it is.
Yeah. No, that scene is so cool, and it's just rampaging through. You see cars starting to kick into reverse, and then they get stomped, and it's very Godzilla-esque of a scene.
Yeah.
But it's with a T-Rex, and that's kick-ass. Like, that's so cool. As, big dinosaur fans, we find that
There's only one T-Rex that went there, correct?
Yep.
I thought they would bring 2 of them.
That would have been mass chaos.
I mean, you see them in the beginning, at least before they left. Mm-hmm. There was 2 of them. Yeah. Then you bring 1.
Well, they had the baby with them.
Yeah. Was it the mom or the dad that was there?
I think it was the mom, because they were talking about how like the female's the one you don't want to get loose type of thing.
Yeah, I'd be pissed off too. So if I could.
Yeah.
It probably was the mom.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that San Diego scene is obviously very iconic, but. I love that blood waterfall, but that raptor scene, I'm going to kind of just pivot and go back to that. That raptor scene where they're just hunting this group of military men one by one, and you just see them cutting through.
Yeah, you just see their pathways, and you have no idea. Yeah. Well, at least obviously they had no idea, but you see one where he turns around and the raptor jumps out of, I don't even know what, it was just tall grass. Yeah. Jumps out, and you just see... Dude. Big jaws, the little spines it has on the back, and obviously its well-renowned claws, those big toenails that they have down there, the talons. Yeah. And I can only assume it just dug right into his chest. It's like tough. So, obviously the T-Rex is like the apex predator, and, but what I get from these movies is the Velociraptor is the one you don't want to come into contact with. No. And Sam Neill, Dr. Grant, is the one that advocates big time in the first movie. In the first movie, probably the most tense and scary scene is that raptor's taking over the kitchen with the kids in it. And in this movie, the San Diego breakout scene is more fun than I think it is scary. I think that raptor scene is the most horrific scene you get in this movie. And it just proves once again that, yes, the T-Rex is the big bad, but the raptors, dude, they're the ones you want to watch out for. Yeah, and that's something consistent throughout all of them. Isn't there some, if not the raptor itself, something about the raptor is always involved.
Like in the World movies, you get the Endoraptor. And
exactly. But like in the first movie, Dr. Grant, when they're in the lab, these are raptor eggs. Yeah. Okay, and then obviously you get the Velociraptor. You get the Velociraptor in the third movie and all that stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, that raptor in the field scene is just art. It's art. It really is. I talk about how much I love that San Diego scene because it's just chaos and fun. The field scene is the horror of this movie.
Is that a top 5 scene for you?
Like all time or like in the franchise?
All time. I mean, the franchise. I'm assuming it's at least top 5 in the franchise.
It's definitely top 5 in the franchise. It's probably top 3.
With you being an avid movie watcher, would you give?
I don't want to say that off the top of head because there's just.
How about top 10?
I mean, it's probably in my top 10%.
Okay,
you got to think like. I've seen a couple thousand movies throughout my life, and all of them have how many scenes?
Yeah.
So, like,
I don't know how strongly you took on the first one. Like, this movie is definitely a top 5, if not top 3, for you.
Like, it's easier to throw it in a percent because I can't think off the top of my head like what would be my top 10 overall scenes. But like, I would say the Jurassic breakout scene in the first movie is top 5% scene all time. That raptor scene in top 5%. Yeah. That raptor scene is probably top 10%. Okay. But like, it's tough to say top 10 overall because.
True.
I've seen thousands and thousands of scenes. If you're talking every scene in every movie I've seen, you know what I mean. So it's tough to put it top 10.
I'll take top 10.
That'd be an interesting list to make because you'd really have to like dive into like
all the movies you made.
Yeah, every movie you watch. Like, how do you make that decision without really thinking about it? You know what I mean?
Would you break it up into genres? Would you break it up into in the decades they were made, or just overall?
Yeah, I mean, you can do really whatever you want.
No.
You all time, 70s, 80s, 90s. Or
There's a project for you if you ever get bored.
That's fair. You just opened up the door for my autistic brain to
You're welcome.
Go nuts the next week.
Stimulating.
But no, it's that scene is very, very well done. I think it's shot in a way that makes it horrific while also still being kick-ass if you love dinosaurs like I do. I'm still a 6-year-old boy at heart, dude. Like, dinos and sharks are my favorite animals. And this movie's this and Jaws were the
big
first
sea
two
life
movies.
reptile guy.
Yeah, dude. The Predators. But, continuing with the good. Once again, I put the technical stuff in there. I think the effects are pretty good again. I think we get great set design, cinematography, camera work, and it's Spielberg. You know what you're gonna get with Spielberg. He's one of the greats. But it's another movie that I think gets a little too much hate, and I actually, like I said, it's a step down from the first one, but I still adore this one for the most part.
Throughout the series, this is probably at the bottom for myself.
Okay.
Just personally, I wasn't.
After we watch Rebirth, we'll have to do a ranking of all.
I wasn't as captivated as I was, at least with the first one. The first one, I mean, it set such a high ceiling.
Yeah, and we can hop over to the meh. If we don't, do you have anything else in the good?
I did like the last scene where I believe they were told to kill the mom and save the baby.
Yeah.
And you see a helicopter hovering overhead, or at least coming through overhead with a gunner on the side. And luckily, Dr. Sarah was able to utilize that tranq gun, smack the mom in the back of the ear, so she goes down. And then you see them on this huge ship going back to the island and having a naval escort.
Yeah.
And like I said, that sets up like they.
End of the sunset.
Yeah, I honestly thought if you wanted to destroy the dinosaurs, you just blow up the island. But their biggest thing was just take them back and let them roam free, like how
sanctuary type
how
thing.
Dr. Hammond wanted them to do. Is I realized where I fucked up, and that's trying to manipulate things that I can't control nature.
Yeah.
So although I own the island, it's yours now. You'll have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We can hop over to the map. And I know you kind of said that it doesn't, you're not as into it the entire movie as you are with the first one. The first one's big shoes to fill. For me, that is probably my biggest meh, is that it is weirdly paced. Because there is a lot of slow moments in this movie.
Yeah.
And the first movie has its fair share of slow moments, but I think the slow moments are still captivating. And in this one, some of the slow moments, you're like, okay, what's next? And so I agree with it. It's oddly paced, and at times that can make you sit there and want to push it along.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing for me. I would say, if I have gripes, that's probably the big one, is that it's definitely not as completely captivating as that first one was, and it does have a couple lulls. The camp out stuff sometimes can be okay, let's just move to the next scene, but I still enjoy it for the most part.
I still enjoy it because you got Jurassic Park.
Yeah, for sure. It's dinosaurs, dude. But what else you got in the meh?
In the meh?
Things you didn't particularly like, but didn't also hate.
Realistically, how the daughter was able to sneak onto the trip.
I could get behind that.
How do you lose? Not only do you lose track, but you're how many miles away from your home, and you find her coming through, and she just botched something she tried to cook.
Yeah.
If I'm in Dr. Malcolm's shoes, your girlfriend is a well-renowned doctor, if not photographer, and she's also into all the prehistoric stuff, just like you. So her being a go-getter, and you had no idea she would be there. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But you lose track of your daughter.
Yeah.
And then find her on the same island as you.
Yeah. I can get behind that, 100%. I think the Mez is the perfect place for it, because I'd say what I like about it is the dynamic we get from the characters, but I can agree that it's maybe not all right because it's a kid. How did she swim her way onto that? You know what I mean? I feel like if you know where you're going, you're making sure that she's with somebody.
Yeah, and this wasn't just like the first one. We're building a park so we can bring bring amusement to everybody who wants to come. This is to show that, hey, these animals are here. They're doing just fine. And that was just the main goal of it.
Yeah.
So her being in it didn't make sense to me, unlike the grandkids in the first movie.
Yeah.
Because, like, oh, this, you know, if my grandkids love it, the kids around the road will love it.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, she snuck onto it. I'm honestly surprised he didn't beat her ass. Because if I find out, like, and I like Dr. Malcolm because, again, he's arrogant, but it's like, he's not just arrogant because he thinks he knows. He's arrogant because he knows.
Oh, he's smart.
Knows.
He's a very intelligent
it's like
character, yeah.
Oh, like, oh, look at this. What I said came to fruition. Like, yeah, we're about to fucking die.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't want you here. Why?
I mean, that dude was within a foot of a T-Rex mouth. Like,
exactly.
Listen to him. Yeah.
Like,
I get what you're saying for sure. I would agree with it.
Yeah. So that was one of the men's. That was probably the biggest one for me. But,
yeah. I don't think I have anything that bad.
Nothing bad.
No.
But is this one of your favorites in the series?
I love all of these movies.
That's a great answer.
There's only one that I have, like, under a 7 out of 10 out of the 6 that have come out so
This
far.
is above a 7 for me. I was going to let you know.
Oh,
once
sure.
we get down the road, this is above a 7.
Oh, yeah.
But
anything else that you have? You have something in the bad, or just living in the meh kind of?
Just that one. As I said, the meh. It was more, like, sentimental, I guess, during this one, because he was trying to, like, not salvage, but, like, amend or fix his relationship with Dr. Sarah.
Yeah.
But also with his daughter at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the overall plot is, let's not get eaten.
Yeah.
So when it did get slow, it was like, yeah, let's push this along. It was more when he was trying to it was slower with his personal relationships.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. Anything in the bad, or you just want to skip to final thoughts?
No, I said just man, so I had no bad.
So we'll hop over to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with for Lost World, and what do you give it out of 10?
Like I said, it was above a 7, but it definitely wasn't one of my favorites in the series. So I would give it a 7.8.
7.8. For me, I'm sticking to solid numbers. I think this is a movie in the past I would have said 8.5 on. I'll just go 8 because I don't think it's a 9. It's not a 9.
I'll bump mine up to an 8 then.
Okay.
I'm close enough. If we're going solid numbers, yeah.
You don't have to. That's just a resolution I made for myself at the beginning of the year, and I've kept to it so far.
Just the whole numbers. I said I can give it an 8. I said a 7. I don't know. It's teetering, so I'll give it an 8 because it's Jurassic Park. Yeah, 8, you gotta give it the benefit of the doubt. Absolutely.
But I'm gonna go 8 out of 10. Like I said, it's an 8 out of 10 is obviously a great score for a film. Like I said, it's a step down from the first one, which is a 10. But I still think it's a damn good sequel. And I think, it gets a little too much hate. I feel like when you ask a lot of people how they'd rank the Jurassic Park movies, this is one that falls at the bottom. If you're talking about the original trilogy, I feel like this is a lot of people's bottom. When you're talking about all 6 that we've gotten so far, I think that it's never the bottom, but it's one of the bottom 2. For me, we'll get into rankings. I would really have to, put it all together, but I don't think this is a bottom tier movie.
In the series?
Yeah. I think I'd put it, probably right in the middle, but I think it's a little overrated. I think it's a little slept on.
I'll give it slightly. I gotta watch the other. I watch the other 3, and then once we get that new one, and then we'll see.
Which I'm so excited for.
But right now, like I said, I got the first movie at number 1 because I haven't seen the new one yet.
Yeah.
This one is probably middle of the pack.
Yeah. So we'll do an overall ranking with the 7th video.
I love that.
Make it fun. End it with rankings, but that'll do it for The Lost World. Tony, thank you for coming on. Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social link down below. Always appreciated. We've got more Jurassic Park coming your way, so make sure you stay tuned. We'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Deuces.